Hello everyone, I'm Simon Preston. Welcome to Reggae Boyz Commentary. Thank you very much for tuning in to my channel. As you can see, over here we have a very special guest, and this is none other than Tallawah TV, also known as Crystal, doing some brilliant work over in Europe, in the UK, highlighting our Jamaican players, Reggae Boys, Reggae Girls, youth teams. Absolutely fantastic. Crystal, how are you doing?
I'm well, Simon. Thank you for having me on your show. It's an absolute pleasure to talk to you as always.
Yeah. I thank you for coming on. You know, I've always wanted to catch up with you because a lot of people are quite excited about when you do your tweets and you highlight players that have scored a goal, a clean sheet. So it's really nice to have you on. Thank you.
Thank you. No, thank you again. Thank you for having me. It's always a pleasure when I have good feedback from journalists like yourself, because obviously you're well in tune with our community, our footballing community. So to get credit from yourself means a lot to me.
Not a problem at all. So, as you know, your project Tallawah TV, just before we get into all of that, you were born on the island, weren't you?
I am very proud. I'm from St. Thomas and I came to the UK back in 2002. So it's been a very long time. Originally it just felt really weird because obviously back then it was so cold. Like you come to the UK, you come to England quite frequently. So you know, like back then, early millennium, it was freezing. So it took me a while to like accustomize myself to the new climate, the food, the culture. But I think now after so long, I'm like finally settled in.
Right. Okay. Wonderful. You know, as you said, everything takes place in time. If everything falls into place in that period, so it's great that you've been able to settle and everything. And yeah, that's brilliant. So it's great that our fellow Jamaicans can recognize you and everything that you're doing. So obviously we're in the same sort of industry and line of work. But in terms of the project Tallawah TV, when did that sort of idea come to your brain about highlighting Jamaicans from all across the globe, really?
It actually came into my mind when I was at uni. So I studied sports journalism at the University Arts of London, and I believe towards my second or third year, I had so many conversations with my friends about football and Jamaican football, and we could never really find the information aside from journalists like yourself, who are obviously based in Jamaica. So it was very frustrating. We appreciate the work done by yourself, but we always wish that we had more people in your position, just to participate and give us useful information. Because you know what it's like trying to follow the progression of Jamaican footballers, more specifically the reggae girls, for example. It's easier to track the progress of the reggae boys than the reggae girls. Obviously, that comes down to the club they play in, the league they play in. So there was so much frustration like during my years at uni. And I thought to myself, okay, rather than just relying on people like yourself, because I know you obviously have your usual 9 to 5 aside from your commentary and your YouTube project, I said, why not contribute to what's already on the table and just add to that? And I said to myself, I'm going to create a platform that highlights reggae girls and reggae boys across the diaspora and in Jamaica as well. So that's how the project came about.
It's actually brilliant that everything that you've made mention, because you have genuine footballing fans that want to know, okay, this lad was at under 17 level. Where is he today? What is he doing now? Or that reggae girl that scored for us. Where's Havana Savon playing right now? People want to know where these players are, who they're playing with. Are they scoring? Are they doing well? Have they retired? So it's definitely a market and a niche that is needed, especially in this time period of social media.
Absolutely. Like people know, like people outside of our community, they might not be aware, but Jamaicans are crazy lovers and followers of football. And one of the most frustrating thing is when it comes to the reggae boys, like, and the reggae girls. Like it is so frustrating trying to track their progress. And I can't speak for every follower of Jamaican football, but I get very frustrated when the reggae boys or the reggae girls are playing. And I don't even know like basic stuff like, the starting lineup or who scored or, is a player injured and so on. So that's the reason why I feel like platforms like ourselves are so like pivotal to highlighting the growth of Jamaican football.
Yeah, and I think what my followers have been talking about is some of the interviews you've done, especially 2019, Darren Moore, the tracking of the reggae girls in France, Mason Holgate. What was those experiences like for you?
It was incredible when I went to, I mean, Darren Moore, because I do work for the Voice newspaper as well. I've interacted with Darren Moore at like a few industry events. And so that's how the interview was able to progress. Um, and when I went to the World Cup for the Reggae Girls in France, it was just an unbelievable experience. Because, like I said, when I take it back to the Voice newspaper, I've covered games in the Premier League, I've done FA Cup, I've done Europa League competitions, but nothing can top the World Cup. You know, that's the ice cream, that's the cherry on top for all football fans. So to go to like my first major football tournament and to follow my country and for it to be the Reggae Girls, it was a nerve-wracking experience because I'm new to that environment, but it was just one that is like up there with my career highlights, and it's going to take some doing to top that moment.
Wow, it's just an amazing experience, and to catch the first ever appearance that they've ever had at the Women's World Cup, that's a memory that will always stick with you. Absolutely brilliant to have that experience. And what was it like, being in, having the opportunity to interview such players, being in the stadium, 20, 30,000 people, the atmosphere, the vibes? What was that experience like?
It was Simon. It was incredible, incredible. I
Mm.
remember the first game against Brazil. They dubbed it Reggae versus Samba, and I kid you not, I literally woke up and I had tears in my eyes because I just couldn't believe it. I literally could not believe it because I've always, looked to platforms like yourself and newspaper articles of World Cup 1998. And whilst I appreciate that moment, I didn't get to live through that moment. Right, because I'm far too young to even remember World Cup 98 being on TV. So I have to look to yourself and articles and old videos. So to be there in that moment and watch them come through the tunnel and you hear the national anthem. And the good thing about that experience is I was positioned along with the rest of the Jamaican journalists. So, people from Television Jamaica, we were all in one area together.
Yeah.
And when the national anthem came on, like it was just, we were filled with a lot of joy. Despite the result, despite going through up and down France, only seeing one goal, when Havana Salon scored that goal, like the stadium erupted. Everybody was celebrating, even the opposing fans, because they recognized that you look across the stadium and there's Jamaicans in every single section. Incredible. So that moment, like that for me, like I said, that is my career highlight. Even speaking to the players, following the players around France, pre-match interviews, post-match interviews, going to their training sessions, frustrating stuff. It takes a lot of hard work and dedication to keep up, but I don't think anything can top that. And going back to what you said about Mason Holgate, that was actually I caught myself by a bit of a surprise, because before that interview there was nothing in the Merseyside newspaper or like the English newspaper of saying Mason Holgate is eligible to play for Jamaica. So I was actually at a match. I was covering a game at the London Stadium and they were playing against West Ham, and I do the usual, you know how it goes, you do your homework before the game. So I went through my homework, and I was going across and looking at Everton's lineup, and I was ticking off the names name by name, and I was like, Holgate, where is he from? And then lo and behold, I was like, oh, okay, he has Jamaican heritage. And so at the post-match conference, when we were doing our post-match interviews, I made it my duty to pull him, and he was very polite, very approachable, spoke to him for maybe 5 minutes, if that, and just said to him, straight up, would you consider playing for the Reggae Boyz? And he said, like, we've not approached him, but it is something that he would consider if we were to approach him. So that was refreshing, because as you know, he holds a lot of talent for his position, and he's quite young and he's English born. So to hear somebody who's English born come out and say that, yes, they would consider playing for Jamaica, again, that's just a proud moment for me.
That's just brilliant, that experience, and the type of demeanor that he carried as well. As you said, he was calm and approachable. You don't find that quite often, so to hear that is quite refreshing. And let's just hope that everything works out quite well, and that one day we'll get to see him in the black, green, and gold. It is quite exciting, and I just wanted to know from your experience, like with the lockdown and no fans at the stadium, as reporters as yourself, do you get to still go to the games, or is it still done remotely, or you still get to go to the games and interview players?
It's a bit of both, really. So we can still go to the game, but my sports editor, God bless him, he's very hesitant. We
Oh,
had a brief chat. I believe it might have been at the start of this year or late last year, and he said, one of our co-workers unfortunately fell ill, and they, contacted COVID. We wasn't sure if that was by going to the game, or if at the time it was because they were in and amongst others who may have then given them COVID. But he was very cautious of any of his reporters going to games and then contracting COVID and then potentially spreading it to our family members. So he told us to hold fire. So at the moment we can request to go to games, but I think just for like safety reason, it's just best to hold fire and try to work remotely and try to do interviews remotely whenever possible.
mm-hmm. Okay, I understand, and I can understand the concern, especially in that situation. So that is fair, but at least you've had some wonderful moments so far, and certainly the best is yet to come. And based on the discussion you and I have had, I understand you're a massive Arsenal fan, and and the reason why I bring that up is because we do have a young man in the academy of Arsenal that is creating waves,
Mm-hmm.
and that is Kido Taylor-Hart, and who is willing, if the opportunity presents itself, to play for Jamaica. And for those that may not know him quite well and the style of play, I just want to know how excited you would be if this were to happen, to see a Guna as a reggae boy.
It would just be incredible. We missed the opportunity to have a Guna in the sense of Maitland Niles weren't quick enough as ever. But with Kido, it would be incredible if we could recruit him. You've seen his style of play, you see the way he played with such confidence, such composure. I believe he scored, was it earlier on this week or last week?
Yeah, last week, yeah.
Where exactly he scored a goal earlier on, either this week or last week. I need to double check. But when you see him play, he plays with a lot of fear, with a lot of less fear compared to other young players his age. So as I said, he plays with a lot of composure, and he's somebody who I think that he's going to, whether he decides to extend his contract with Arsenal or go elsewhere, I think he'll have a bright future.
Hmm. And based on Arsenal's record, Arsenal has one of the best youth academies in the entire country. Really, they give opportunities to youths. The Jack Wilshers, the Maitland Niles of this world. They get playing opportunities. So you think he might get a professional contract if he continues on the same trajectory?
Yeah, I definitely think so. With Arsenal, it's a little bit difficult to tell because like we also have a horrendous habit of letting players run down their contract, and they find themselves in a position where it's literally down to the wire. Look at Aubameyang last season. And again, we have Balogun. Thankfully, we're now in a position where it looks as if Balogun has either signed a contract extension. I believe they said it's a 4-year contract extension. So that announcement is imminent. So I'm hoping that it will be the same with our boy, and he will stay at Arsenal and progress his career, develop a bit like Emil Smith Rowe and young Saka, and just go on to have a incredible career. And I'm hoping if that is the case, then he is playing for the black, gold, and green, because that would just be so rewarding to know that there's an Arsenal player who also plays for the Reggae Boyz.
And can you imagine, just imagine the Emirates being in a sea of black, green, and gold? Because London, the diaspora.
Jesus, we're gonna turn up. We will definitely turn. I know you as well. I know you're Mr. Manchester United, but I know if you're in London, Arsenal are playing, and you can get a ticket to watch our boy play, I know you'll watch him play. So yeah, just like you said, London has so many Jamaican supporters, and more so Arsenal as well. And a couple of us would definitely put his name on our backs.
Because trust me, I just did a stadium tour at the Emirates, and I see Jamaican flags left, right, and center. So you can just imagine when the fans come out. What a day that will be! Oh my days! Great moments to look forward to for sure. Crystal, for those individuals that want to reach out to you, get to know you a bit better, or follow your content, where can they go if they want to know some more about Jamaican players?
They can follow my page on Instagram or on Twitter, or they could also try and subscribe to my YouTube channel at Tallawah TV. I try to post as frequently as possible. So that's definitely most certainly weekly posts. You'll get your weekly posts on Jamaican footballers. So not just the reggae boys, but also the reggae girls. And it's a matter of if and when they play. So, if we have an international break, then I will mainly focus on the international side of football. But definitely when they're kicking a ball, you will get regular updates on those players.
Okay, great. And just before we go, any scoops coming up? Any latest interviews you're working on? And we'll know quite shortly. Because you have all the
I've
links.
developed. No, that's you. I'm trying to follow your footstep. You're the blueprint.
Oh boy, I hear you.
I'm trying to see if I can get some interviews done with a few of the English-based players. There's nothing concrete at the moment. That's only because we're at the latter stages of the football season. So from the EFL straight up to the Premier League, like we're at the business end of the football calendar now. So I just kind of have to just be patient and see who responds and give me the thumbs up.
Yeah, yep, everything in time. I agree with you there. Crystal, thank you very much for coming on, guys. Tallawah TV for more content about Jamaican football, reggae boys, reggae girls, everything you got on Twitter, on Instagram, on everywhere, YouTube. So check out Crystal. I'll leave her links in the description below, and don't forget to subscribe to Reggae Boys Commentary for more content. Take care, guys.